it's a Go project. This is Jericho Wagon and Aaron Riggs, and we're Coffee with the Summerland kids. We're doing a little, good morning meet and greet routine with each other. So here we are.
Yeah, I decided since the sun is out and I didn't feel like going out to the dark cave of my garage with no lighting, I'm here in front of the camera today.
That's awesome.
Grooming my beard.
I love it. It looks like you got the double skunk. It's fucking rad, man. I love it. It's amazing. I don't know if I'll ever get there. I am growing my beard out. Aaron instigated or just, leading by example with his badass beard. So I'm like, I gotta get my beard on, So
it takes years, bro.
It takes in slow.
Here's the thing. In the summer, it starts getting hot.
Right.
And it's uncomfortable. But once it gets to a certain point, it shades your face.
Oh, wow.
So it actually cools it.
Oh, nice. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I remember you telling me about the itchies of the beginning stages. And I come to realize it's like a meditation of sorts, like being with someone. There's another being almost on you, or it's an extension of our being or something. Avatar. Yeah.
I get the little wires. I got my goofball picture up. I got my goofball picture up, so I might be goofing.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome.
I can still make the face.
Yeah, dude. So guess I remembered the TV gave me a prompt this morning, and I remembered the name was mentioned, Ariel. Do you remember Ariel? Ariel, yeah. From
I think my sister was her friend.
Okay, yeah, Ariel, yeah. So
she had a brother, I think.
She had a brother, yeah, and it was like Aaron and I went to Summerland Elementary School, so we just reconnected after I've come to terms with it's been since 1983. I figure it was the summer of '83, as best I can guess, when we last were in sixth grade, summer of sixth grade. So we're popping in. Our minds are still working and remembering who was there. And I remember Ariel and like you said, her brother. And it was like when we were kids, like these whether it was the beginning of the school year or randomly a new kid would pop into the school, like their parents dropped them off and boom, here they are.
Yeah, I think that especially it was such a small school. I mean, by the time I was in junior high, it was just a big change, from a small 40 kids in the whole school to seventh grade where there was there's two grades and however many classes in junior high and however many kids, there was at least 40 kids just on the bus I rode, and there was multiple buses and a lot of big neighborhood in that area. So it was definitely I guess I'm lucky because I went from Los Osos to San Luis.
Okay.
And Los Osos was a little bit smaller. They were exactly the same layout. They were called sister schools. So the halls, the offices, the library, even the fields was the same layout. I think a different height on the fields, but it was the same exact halls, same exact layout.
Interesting.
Which was interesting.
Adapting to junior high. I remember, they gave us choices of classes, and I mean, I love that. I mean, it was that cool for me because in Carpentry Junior High School, it turned out my art teacher was a former high school classmate of my dad's, so we were instantly like good buddies because he was like a hilarious, like a comedian, Mr. Hinton. And right next to Mr. Hinton was Mr. Lamelli, the woodshop teacher. So the art teacher and the woodshop teacher had like a whole, almost like it was a funny, almost like they were like comedians essentially between the two of them. So that was fun.
I think that every teacher needs to have a sense of humor because kids, they're kids. They're going to play. They're going to find funniness in their life. And if a teacher can't be like, oh, I get the joke, then it'll kind of be trouble. Hello, viewer. We do have a live viewer again. I think that maybe we have some audience people that are looking forward to our daily stream. They actually,
Sweet.
I put up the schedule 7-ish.
That's cool. Nice. Yeah, we're both early birding it for sure.
You get the best coffee if you early bird.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I used to walk
Totally.
into 7-Eleven at like 5 o'clock in the morning when I was in the city, and they're up. That
Oh,
that
I know.
7-Eleven guy's getting ready for that 6 o'clock rush with that fresh coffee, and it was always kind of fun to get in there, and he's making coffee, and I get my coffee, and I always, with some jokes. If you've ever seen some of my lives or ever seen me in live, in real life, I'm a joker, man. I'm
Yeah,
constantly trying to find that funny bone, that humor.
that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's cool.
This is one
Oh,
of my favorite jokes. I got this thing here from
classic. Oh, is that an alien on there? Yeah, that's killer.
yeah,
I love
Al
it.
Eon.
Nice.
And so anywhere they want my ID, I'd show them that.
Yeah.
And
So,
I have not shown that and not gotten a laugh.
right, that's killer. So freaking Henry Lafayette, that's the man from the founder of Summerland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was interesting, like when in the 1980s, like I think I told you I was working at an auto body shop right in high school, and this old man comes in the shop, and we're working away, and this guy he walks in, and we're like, "Can we help you?" And he's like, "I'm looking for Henry Lafayette," and we're like, "We don't know a Henry Lafayette." He just kept insisting. It was almost like a joke, like, "Where's Waldo?" or something. And I had no idea what he was talking about, and perhaps he was kind of like reaching out for the ancestral founder of Summerland, you know, a century later or something. I have no idea. I've only recently connected that up. But Henry Lafayette was the founder of our community, Summerland, California, which he made a spiritualist community. I'm sure there's more literature on it. There was a few people wrote some books about Summerland, and I think they would have them at the Big Yellow House restaurant. Had a little like book area or something. I think they sold History of Summerland books there.
Yeah, the Big Yellow House. I heard there's a monastery up there somewhere in the Montecito Mountains.
Yeah, you're right. There is actually on Ladera Lane. I can't recall the name right now. It might come to me later, but I recall going to the grounds, but I can't recall. I know I wasn't a part of it. We would go up there and skateboard a lot because Ladera Lane was an incredible skateboarding area, and Santa Barbara fortunately had lots of hills and became sort of like definitely like a birthplace slash testing grounds for skateboarders because of Sim skateboards, and then later Powell Peralta was based in Santa Barbara, and so that we were like right in the mix of the an industry that we became aware of as children because it was like the mode of transportation.
Yeah. Oh gosh, the skateboard. I'm
Yeah.
trying. I really didn't get into having a good skateboard and using it for transportation until junior high and high school.
Oh, nice.
And I remember we would take some pretty long trips on skateboards.
For sure.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Was the
miles and
territory
miles and miles.
So the territory was good for that? It was like neighborhood style, like sidewalks around your junior high and stuff?
Yeah, there was lots of good sidewalks,
Nice. That's
and
awesome.
the traffic was nice. So you can get anywhere on a skateboard. And
And it
they
was flat,
started putting up the
pretty flat.
signs downtown, no
Uh-huh.
skateboarding.
Okay. Yeah, that came up later in the 80s. They started to be against us. I mean, it's almost like it felt like the 80s kids. I mean, we were born in the 70s, of course, but in the 80s, it was like we were given a mode of transportation that was booming in popularity, and it was almost like here's a whole new situation to deal with for like the authorities. The skateboarders became like little mini outlaws, and then as well as the BMX bikes that we got our hands on eventually, the better frames, like you mentioned, your Schwinn, and then was it Mongoose and Redline and all these like cool ass you know bikes came along, and then we graduated to beach somewhere along the line. Did you ever get a beach cruiser?
Did when I was a bit older.
Okay, yeah,
Um, but then I didn't like it because there's no gears.
yeah, exactly. I
And
know
it
the
was
gears
great on the
too.
sand because you can get on the sand, but once you get on the street, those big beach tires
Yeah,
lag. And now what do we got? Electric bikes. Have
I
you seen
know.
some of those things? And it's the same thing. The
Right.
kids are allowed to get them and ride them, but as soon
Oh,
as the cops see them, they're like, "Oh, this is not legal. You need a
oh,
license plate. You need a license."
oh God, wow. Huh. Yeah, it's interesting how the kid culture almost like transitions to adult culture, like with those little bird, they're like little scooters, like electric scooters in the cities that you can just somehow you have an app and you know type in to activate the scooter and freaking ride it and pay a little bit of money and then drop it off. You know,
Yeah, those things are odd.
yeah, and
Um,
people crash them. I was a good skateboarder at a certain point where I could go down big hills and do my slides and all that. And watching the Powell Bones Brigade videos inspired us a lot. But I watched people that almost like never ever since childhood been on a scooter, and they jump on an electric scooter, and it's like almost like a fearless mode of transportation, but they don't realize, hey, a pothole, gravel, like other cars. I mean, there's a lot going on there.
yeah, I mean, what you're talking about, those little razor
Yeah,
scooters?
those are razor scooters. Yeah, but with motors or electric motor attached inside them. You know,
Those are death traps. Those are death
absolutely.
traps.
I know. It's amazing. I mean, I got to hand to those people that put it out there as an entrepreneur, but that's a ballsy ballsy move
I
to
had I had
to
one of the not the electric ones,
okay.
but the bigger adult size ones with the little gas motor on the back.
Oh wow, yeah, that's similar, except these are electric. Yeah,
And I would cruise that thing all over
wow.
and had a close call
Okay.
and got rid of it immediately.
Oh, right. Wow. Did you fall or did you what was the? Do you remember what happened?
It was a car backing out of a driveway,
Oh crap! Wow.
and I barely stopped and swerved, and I bumped into their car.
Okay.
Didn't
Wow.
hit the ground, but I
Mhm.
mean, I was going pretty slow by the time I actually bumped their car. And they
Okay.
were so apologetic. They're like, "I'm sorry, I didn't see you." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know you were coming out. Nobody's hurt."
Wow.
But I know
Wow.
better. I got rid of it quick. I actually sold it to a friend who gave it to his kid,
Woo. Amazing.
and his kid drove it all the time.
Wow. I actually got hit by a car once going down Ortega Ridge, coming down the hill, and I was, doing my turns, and I'm always constantly looking back to see if there's cars coming, and I think I saw her, so I actually went into the oncoming traffic lane to sort of like let her go by, but she like followed me into the oncoming traffic lane, like she was just like almost like didn't know what to do and reacted, and it caught me, and I flew up onto her hood, and I was actually holding onto her hood, going like you know, hey lady, what's up? Like so she slowed down and I wasn't injured. I mean, I might have had a little bruise or two, but she and the funny thing is actually I think she went to school with us when we were kids, but at this point we were teens. And so I just let her go. It was like, okay, I'm fine. I'm not hurt. I'll see you later, you know, be a better driver or something. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
there were no
Childhood, man.
rules back then. The main rule I always
There's
like to say, remember, is have fun, but don't hurt yourself or others. Have as
right.
much fun
Yeah,
as we can, but
exactly.
be careful. There's
Right.
dangers.
Yeah. The per capita road rash for Summerland kids was, I would say, we were above average on road rash.
Oh yeah. Remember
Yeah.
those wicked sandball wars we used to have?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, it's amazing how you just, for those who aren't at the beach, but you can get the beach sand and a little water and compact it and keep building on it, and you literally have a ball of sand. It's like looks like a perfect rock sphere. You know, like the shape is absolutely flawlessly round, and the density is like hard.
That ain't no snowball. There
No,
ain't no
man,
snowball getting hit with one of those.
exactly. I remember these older kids had built these forts like, you know, driftwood, you know, structures, and then were, fighting each other, doing the sandball wars against each other, and we were like, these kids are, next level, because when you're a teenager versus like a 9-year old, that's a big gap, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
You
but
can't do this as a 9-year-old.
no, no, exactly. And living by the beach, I think like, I mean, lakeside kids probably have a similar life that we do, but living by the beach was like the most amazing thing. The sun rises and sunsets every day. It's almost like a freaking church or something, just a meditative process of the rising sun, the setting sun every day after day. You don't realize it. I mean, now I realize it, that it was like almost like sitting in a temple every day as a child for 20 years or something.
Yeah, I think it really was. I think I remember too just the weird little angle that Santa Barbara sits out.
Yeah.
You could almost like I think it was either I think it was more like towards the winter or summer. It almost
Uh,
seemed like it rose out of one side of the ocean and then set, you know,
Absolutely.
and the
Yeah.
other side of the ocean because the way that little point is it's not directly facing west. It's kind of at an angle to where if you're all the way out at the beach and you're there at sunrise, certain times of year, it almost is like it rises out of the ocean and sets in the ocean.
Yeah, exactly. And there was one date on the calendar. My dad would, it would be really approximately close where the sun would set on the very tip of the landmass that we could see the farthest in the off in the distance on the horizon. It would set right on the point at a certain time of the year. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think about the
magic.
times when you said, it's like as a kid, you don't realize how important this kind of time is of being alone, sitting with nature.
Exactly. I know. And the
I mean,
hills, we were definitely blessed in that paradise type setting for sure.
yeah, I mean, as a kid, it was just a normal everyday thing up to the park, down to the beach, over to the
Yeah,
hills. And then
I
as I
know.
got older and older, living in the city, dealing with work and life stresses, it's almost like you have to make a conscious choice. Hey,
Yeah,
I'm going to take a minute of my life and go sit in nature.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
I
I
know
feel
that
like, yeah,
like a lot of times people come and be like, "Oh, stress," because I guess I'm some kind of I give advice. Like I'm like, life is so simple if you just live this. And a lot of times I tell people, just go out to your spot, go out to the natural world, your trees, your river, whatever is natural to you, and just sit and talk to nature, talk to the environment. And there's something about it. I wrote a little thing this morning about whatever, but it's, humans are social animals. We're always in the midst of the city, in the midst of school, in the midst of jobs and people and this and that. And how often do modern people stop and sit with nature?
yeah. It's probably not enough, I think would be the thing, you know, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll do it sometimes just in my backyard, sit with the chickens.
Yeah, that's cool. No, you're with it, man. That's the real deal. Like old school, being one with nature and the animals as well. And, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it is. It's funny though. So I have some little lawn chairs out, where my little garden bench is, and sometimes I'll just sit there. I'll get and I'll talk to the chickens. I get the best advice from my chickens. They tell me, they
That's
say, "Oh,
amazing.
there's fresh water. That's good. Oh, there's
Right?
food. That's good. Life is wonderful." Two things.
Yeah.
Chickens are happy.
Did you guys have chickens in Summerland or no?
I remember my mom had some chickens.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, we had some chickens too down in that little gorge, between Lookout Park and our house. There was like that gully, and it's kind of where that pipe came out that we were talking about. Aaron and I, there was a like a drainage pipe in our little town that from behind the liquor store you could duck into this pipe, and it was just big enough. I think we could stand up in it, right? Or we were like a little hunched over, but it was pretty. It seemed pretty big, but you could
I
walk
think
through
the
that tunnel.
first time I went through it,
Yeah.
we could stand up in it.
Okay, yeah. And then so we'd stand up in this tunnel, walk through this tunnel, and it was to some degree pitch black because you couldn't see the other side right away. And it would take you down under the freeway and then let you out essentially on the ocean side of the freeway.
Yeah, it was. We talked about it several times before we actually went through.
Yeah, and it was some degree there had to have been, one of the kids has the most guts. So you're following the kid who's either more crazy or or something than you are to just go that direction.
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess technically only about 2 or 3 blocks, maybe 4 blocks.
Yeah, you're right, definitely.
Which is
yeah.
a 5-minute walk. But
Yeah,
going through the tunnel, it took I think a little over an hour.
Okay, because we were just like, I think we were probably holding the sides, and I don't even recall a flashlight back then. I don't know if we had one or not.
I know we had one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I know we had one. I think it was
Yeah.
I forget who I went with, and they were pretty much more scared than me.
Yeah.
But they
wow.
had the flashlight.
Okay, that's wow. Yeah. Amazing.
So they were up ahead, and I'm just trying to catch up.
Yeah, it's like
the
those
light.
movies. I feel like every teen, was it like Poltergeist, Goonies, E.T., all those classic '80s films with kids. Like I feel like we lived just like they lived. In that neighborhood setting. There's some drama. The kids are on bikes. It's adventure. All that. I mean, we definitely lived through that whole experience.
No, it's so different nowadays. It is so different.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean,
the kids nowadays, I mean, my kid, when he was growing up, kind of the same thing. They're like, oh, no, let's play the video game. Let's sit and play the video game.
Yeah. That wasn't there for us.
It was there for us.
Eventually, right?
Yeah, eventually. I mean, like some of the kids I knew had the home game system when it first came out. But the parents kind of limited it back then. It was kind of like a reward. It's not just every day after school you're straight playing video games.
Right. Yeah.
And I think is technology changing society? Yeah, in some ways.
Mm-hmm. It's a hot topic right now for on the mainstream news. They're talking about restricting kids from social media. Or at least restricting them from phones, giving them flip phones instead of smartphones for their early childhood development up until I think they want to, perhaps limit their accessibility up through middle school. And essentially maybe when you get to high school, you get a smartphone. But we'll see how that goes. I think all parents are different. I mean, I have friends who have kids and they're I feel like it does give kids an advantage to be socially or conscious with the computer. I think it's a positive thing, but there's always pros and cons to everything. So
yeah. I mean, I've grew up with technology. I had my theoretical stuff, and now we're at the point when I was a kid and first learned computers. I was like, oh yeah, eventually I'll just talk to my computer and tell it what to do. And then there was Google and Siri and all these things. And now there's AI where you tell the computer, oh, make this art or make a movie or make a program. And so it's like it's like I imagined,
Yeah.
you know. Now I'm grown up and I have a computer and I can talk into it and I can say, computer do this, computer do that, and it's kind of odd because I'm somewhat tentative or scared because I know as how easy is it to just start typing things into a computer because I'm a writer, and then all of a sudden have a bunch of videos that I could put on YouTube. I mean, I could see spending a week just spending a lot of time and just really having an income because I spent the time to create the content, and I steer away from it. And that's right about the time me and you decided let's do the podcast thing. I think it's much more holistic, organic, and who cares if I make $1 million on my videos? This is not about that.
Yeah, for us
me.
right now, like it's just using the technology to enable a conversation. Yay. That's important for us to be able to, of course, have our conversation, and we're just being with the times, of how people communicate. I mean, of course, during COVID, I think the what is it called? What's that other app that you can use that like Zoom, the Zoom meeting thing? Um, you know, being what is it, independently working from home, it really pushed that to another level. People were sort of in a position where they had to communicate with each other, and there's something about seeing your face, your the boss. Hey, the boss is here, and he's gonna tell you got to work your productivity up. The face to me and the spirit comes through much more in this manner than it does just over a phone call.
Oh yeah, it does. And that's kind of what was it, yesterday or the day before? I had been going out to my garage. There's no lighting out there, but it's getting earlier and earlier. So when we log on at 7, by the time we're in 20 minutes, there's a little bit of light. And I guess in a way, I'm slowly revealing bits of myself to the audience. Like I was saying before we went on, I've got a bunch of different hats. I've got a bunch of different glasses. I even have a bunch of masks.
Yeah, I love it.
Now you're talking to this guy, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And I thought it was fun because I do my hair. Right. There's quite a bit of it, and it's
amazing, man.
I can do a bunch of different weird things and make it so different. Whether I put it in a ponytail or sometimes I'll put a bun on top or different hats, and it's like like when I was doing comedy, like you're saying, you got an excuse to suit up and wear a tie for we're doing a podcast. And I kind of felt that doing comedy, I still have the hair, and sometimes I go and it just be a little bit wild. And,
it adds to it, because you're your own boss, at this point. So
yeah, but then I'd have a nice coat, a nice suit coat, a sports coat, and some really fancy Hollywood t-shirt. And really cool shoes, because I would go down to my friend's house, LA, which is a thrift shop that contributes their profits to the homeless, but the lady that runs it is like a Hollywood elite.
Wow.
So her Hollywood elite friends will come in and donate, $300 pair of shoes, a $500 sports coat. Well, I only got $20. Well, the next thing you know, I got a wool overcoat and a pair of $300 red bottom shoes that I'm running suede shoes. Some high-end style jeans that are like $400 at the store. Well, I got them for $20. I'm dressed to the T. I'm Hollywood elite here.
That's amazing, man. I'm glad you did that.
We're gonna do a transformation for the live audience, because we're about to leave. We're a minute into the thing. I'm gonna this hair out.
I want to say I had my hair as long as you in my 20s. Like I went through because I could never do it in high school. Did you grow your hair out in high school at all, or no?
I did.
Okay.
For a while.
So how long did it get in high school? Oh wow.
About this
Okay, so
long.
you were one of those guys. That's rad. That's cool, bro. I never, I
Yeah,
couldn't get there in high school. I mean, I grew out a bit, but not nowhere near your level, man. It's a task, or just a state of mind or being, like self-expression.
it's a
It's a
non-task
non-task
task.
task. Yeah.
The more you don't do the task of getting your haircut, the longer it grows. This is just about
Wow,
3
that's
years.
amazing, man.
I did on my birthday, which happened to coincide with a new moon, so it was perfectly on cycle. But it was my 50th
wow.
birthday. I shaved. My hair was even longer. It was maybe down to
Wow.
here, and my beard
Yeah.
was too. And I did the whole process of shaving every hair on my
wow.
head, my beard, my face,
Oh
and
wow.
my
You
head.
went full, like going full monk style or something.
Yeah, because it has been a spiritual journey
For
growing
sure.
hair. You get a lot of feedback and flack from people because they want you to be, haircut.
I know.
You got to wear your uniform. You got to have a certain kind of
Right.
shoes to fit in with a certain
Yeah.
society. And so it's a journey. It's a personal, emotional journey, and then all the esoteric stuff. You got which one of it in the ancient mythology had their hair cut and lost? Samson,
Okay.
right? Wasn't Samson like a strong guy? They cut his hair and they lost his
Wow.
power. The Native Americans, they use it as a spiritual
Wow.
sense. I mean, when you have long hair, even the slightest breeze you can sense.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so for myself, it's just been a natural part of my existence
That's cool. So you
to let it
were on it
be.
from the
That's I don't need to
yeah. Let it be.
let it be.
I think
I love it when
nailed
we
it there
go
with let
past
it
the
be,
time
man.
and don't realize it.
Yeah. So cheers. This is Coffee with the Summerland Kids. I'm Jericho Waggins, Darren Riggs, and we've been enjoying our coffee and just chatting freestyle chats and freestyle self-expression. I'm glad to hear that you're an OG hair club member. Hell yeah, man.
This is the new style.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna start a trend.
Right. That's killer, man. All right. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I'll do the outro.
Today. And cheers to our Summerland friends and kids. And what was that girl's name? Ariel. I think of Ariel, and I think of Keith and Lisa Reagan, and the classic members of Summerland School who made it like a weird joy pastime to be an elementary school student.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Tomorrow's Friday, right?
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday.
Okay, so it's Casual Friday. Do you think we should put a link somewhere where people can join our conversation tomorrow?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Yeah, for sure. And just put it out there. And I'll after today's show, as soon as you do your work behind the scenes to get our show shared for the day, I'm gonna add some like links specifically to a couple topics we touched on, like Let It Be. That song, I'll put it in there in a YouTube, just so we can, when we mention a band that we recall, we can sort of give them props by sharing a song by them or something, So.
Oh, I think that's cool. I always, you probably see them on the Facebook. I'm always like in the morning, put on some music, do some poetry or whatever. And now very often I'll say, hey, what are my recommendations today? And I'll get some good music recommendations.
Nice. Well, thank you, Aaron. We appreciate you, being the
thank you, Jericho. Oh my gosh,
on this, man. Appreciate you being
this is so much fun.
Wizard. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. Oh, here's one real quick. I'm looking forward to promoting Pirate Radio Podcast with my pirate.
Nice. Classic. Amazing.
What is up, kitty? Oh, there's a new kitty at the door.
Classic. All right. Cheers to new cats on the block.
The new cats on the block.
We're logging out.
Oh, this is the other cat. He's so cute. All right. Aaron and Jericho with the Summerland kids and coffee.
Yeah.
We are I'm gonna press the button here any second.
We're signing off. Have a great afternoon, people.